The 22nd of June, 1941. Under the codename Operation Barbarossa, Nazi Germany invades the Soviet Union, its ally in the war against Poland. Much of the existing Soviet Air Force is destroyed on the ground, and the Soviet armies are initially overwhelmed. German units encircle millions of Soviet soldiers who, cut off from supplies and reinforcements, have few options other than to surrender. As the German army advances deep into Soviet territory, SS and police units follow the troops. The first to arrive are the Einsatzgruppen, the Nazi mobile death squads, who will conduct the mass shootings of Jews, communists, and other persons deemed to be dangerous to establishing long-term German rule on Soviet territory. By early 1942, before Hitler is expected to arrive at his Werwolf bunker on the Eastern Front in order to clear the area for the Führer, 227 Jews are mass murdered in the Ukrainian town of Stryjavka near the site. The main perpetrator of this atrocity is a man who serves as the head of Adolf Hitler's Bodyguard unit. His name is Johann Rattenhuber. Johann Rattenhuber was born on the 30th of April 1897 in the German town of Oberhaching to innkeeper Hans Rattenhuber and his wife Anna. In 1904, the family moved to the nearby city of Munich, where his father became a partner in a shipping business. During his childhood, Rattenhuber attended elementary school and then high school in Munich. Rattenhuber passed an emergency high school diploma during World War I, which broke out on the 28th of July, 1914. In April 1916, he joined the 16th Infantry Regiment of the Bavarian Army, with which he actively participated in the war from September onwards. In the following years, he fought with this unit in the Carpathians, Romania, Russia, and France. In 1917, Rattenhuber was transferred to the 13th Infantry Regiment, with which he fought on the Western Front until the end of the war in November 1918. He was released with the rank of lieutenant, which was equivalent to second lieutenant, and had been awarded both classes of the Iron Cross during the war. In December 1918, he returned with his unit to Ingolstadt, a town to the north of Munich. He linked up with right-wing Freikorps units, and in April and May 1919, he took part in the suppression of communist uprisings in Freising and Munich. Afterwards, he remained a member of the Reichswehr Rifle Regiment 42 until September 1919. Rattenhuber joined the Bavarian State Gendarmerie Police in September 1920. He was initially stationed in Bayreuth and in early 1922 was transferred to the Munich police force. There he was promoted to police lieutenant by August 1925. As a police officer, Rattenhuber was deployed to combat the National Socialist movement. On the 4th of July 1931, he took charge of the arrest and transport of the uniformed SA members that had been illegally posted in front of the Munich Nazi Party headquarters to the Munich police headquarters. However, as soon as Adolf Hitler came into power in January 1933, Rattenhuber's loyalty quickly changed, and in an opportunistic flip, he aligned himself with the Nazis. On the 10th of March 1933, Rattenhuber was appointed adjutant by the newly appointed police chief of Munich, Heinrich Himmler, whom he had met in the summer of 1932. In this position, he became the staff officer who assisted Himmler, who as the head of the SS belonged to the most powerful men in the Nazi regime. From this point onwards, the two men's climb into power within Hitler's chain of command was closely linked. On the 15th of March 1933, Rattenhuber was appointed head of one of Hitler's personal bodyguard units, then known as Führer Protection Command or the FSK. Its original members were Bavarian criminal police officers who were charged with protecting the Führer only while he was inside the borders of Bavaria, which was the area of their authority. By May 1933, Rattenhuber officially joined the Nazi Party, and Himmler promoted him to the rank of Hauptmann, which was equivalent to captain. On the 20th of April 1934, Himmler was given the titles of Inspector and Deputy Chief of the Prussian Gestapo in Berlin, which gave him control of the political police forces throughout almost the entire Reich. On the very same day, Rattenhuber was appointed to the capital. On the 1st of August 1935, the aforementioned FSK was officially renamed the Reich Security Service, or the RSD. The RSD was now entrusted with comprehensive personal protection for Hitler in all areas of the Reich, and was accordingly significantly expanded in terms of personnel, which naturally meant a significant increase in Rattenhuber's importance. The RSD role included personal security, investigation of assassination plots, surveillance of locations before the arrival of Nazi dignitaries, and vetting buildings as well as guests. Although Himmler was officially named chief of the RSD, Rattenhuber remained in command and took his orders for the most part directly from Hitler. In the following years, Rattenhuber consolidated his position as the person primarily responsible for Hitler's personal security, and quickly and persistently climbed the ranks ladder. The Second World War began on the 1st of September 1939. Just 2 weeks after the German invasion into Poland, Rattenhuber was promoted to Standartenführer, an equivalent to the American rank of a colonel, commanding a staff of 200 men in the RSD. His unit provided personal security to members of the Nazi Party leadership and for top members of the Nazi government during the war. Within Rattenhuber's responsibility for securing Hitler's field headquarters, he oversaw the Wolf's Lair, Adolf Hitler's first Eastern Front military headquarters in World War II, located in the Masurian woods near the village of Görlitz, today's Polish Gierwash, about 8 kilometers east of the town of Rastenburg, today's Polish Kętrzyn. The construction of the Wolf's Lair complex was completed by the 21st of June 1941, and the Führer first arrived at the headquarters on the 24th of June, 2 days after Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union. After December 1941, Rattenhuber traveled 1,000 kilometers southeast to the Vinnytsia region in today's Ukraine, as another Hitler bunker, Werwolf, was under construction, and he was tasked to survey the area. In January 1942, Rattenhuber met with local SS police leaders and civilian authorities and ordered that the area be cleared of Jews prior to Hitler's arrival. On the 10th of January 1942, Rattenhuber's RSD units participated in the mass shooting of 227 Jews at Stryjówka, the actual grounds of the Vervulf site. On the 12th of January, details of the execution were reported to Rattenhuber by his deputy SS-Gruppenführer Friedrich Schmidt, who announced that more than 200 Jews were living in the locality of Stryjówka. Schmidt informed, "Since Jews represented a big danger for Hitler's Werwolf headquarters, I ordered the commissioner of the region to have them evacuated. Due to certain circumstances, evacuation was impossible. Therefore, on the 10th of January 1942, between 8:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., the Jews were killed off." Schmidt continued, "In order to be able to carry out this operation, our office had to arrange for the digging of an appropriate pit, and for its proper leveling after the Jews were gotten rid of. With the participation of auxiliary policemen and prisoners of war, the pit was created using explosives due to the heavy frost, and afterwards it was leveled. 4 security police officers, 20 officials of the military police and of the urban police, and all the officers of the Vinnytsia Reich Security Service office participated in this operation. This assignment of officials was necessary to take the Jews from their apartments and to bring them to the distant pit, and to prevent unauthorized persons from reaching the execution site." For his participation in this atrocity, Rattenhuber was awarded another promotion in April 1942. Additional massacres of local Jews in the area and prisoner-of-war laborers who worked on the construction of the Vervulf headquarters occurred on the eve of Hitler's arrival in July 1942. In January 1945, Rattenhuber accompanied Hitler and his entourage into the bunker complex under the Reich Chancellery Garden in the central government sector of Berlin. He received the rank of SS-Gruppenführer, an equivalent to a major general, on the 24th of February 1945, during the last stretch of the war, while Germany was already suffering great losses. Rattenhuber was one of the group to whom Hitler announced that he intended to kill himself rather than be captured by the Soviet forces who were occupying Berlin. In later interrogations, he reported that at about 10 p.m. on the 29th of April, Hitler summoned him to his room and said, "You have served me faithfully for many years. Tomorrow is your birthday, and I want to congratulate you and thank you for your faithful service, because I shall not be able to do so tomorrow. I have taken the decision. I must leave this world." Rattenhuber said that he went over to Hitler and told him how necessary his survival was for Germany, that there was still a chance to try and escape from Berlin and save his life, to which Hitler argued, "What for? Everything is ruined, and to flee means falling into the hands of the Russians." When Hitler killed himself on the afternoon of the 30th of April in the Führerbunker, Rattenhuber was not present. Documents released by the Russian archives included further transcripts from Rattenhuber's interrogations, where he was quoted as saying, "On the 30th of April 1945 at 4 p.m., after I controlled the posts of the guards, I arrived at Hitler's bunker. An officer named Heinz Linger, who was Hitler's personal valet, reported to me that the Führer is no longer alive, and that today he, Linger, followed the hardest command he was ever given in his lifetime. Linger told me that Hitler ordered him to leave the room, and if he doesn't hear anything within 10 minutes, he must come back into the room and follow the instruction he was given. While telling me this, he placed Hitler's personal gun on the table. This is how I understood what the order was, and why there was a blood stain on the carpet." Rattenhuber added that after he went into the room and found Hitler's corpse, he concluded that Linger had shot Hitler to make sure his suicide was successful. The Soviet Security Service claims that the order to shoot his body after committing suicide by cyanide was meant to glorify Hitler's death like some kind of martyr. Rattenhuber followed Heinz Linger and several others outside and watched the bodies of Adolf Hitler and his wife Eva Braun being burned. When he saw the burning of their bodies, he burst into tears because he was sad for the Führer's death. Later on, he returned to the bunker, together with other officers, in order to burn documents and plan their escape after they would burn the bunker down. On the 1st of May, Rattenhuber led one of 10 groups escaping from the Reich Chancellery and Führerbunker. 2 of the other main groups were led by SS Brigadeführer Wilhelm Mohnke and Werner Naumann, who between the 30th of April and 5th of May 1945 served as the head of the Nazi propaganda ministry. Most, including Rattenhuber, were caught by the Soviet Red Army within 24 hours. Rattenhuber was taken as a prisoner to Moscow, where on the 20th of May 1945 he gave a description of the last days of Hitler and the Nazi leadership in the bunker complex. In August 1951, Rattenhuber was charged by the Soviet Ministry of State Security that, from the early days of the Nazi dictatorship in Germany in 1933 and until the defeat of the latter in 1945, being an SS-Gruppenführer, police lieutenant general, and the chief of the Reich Security Service, he ensured the personal security of Hitler and other Reich leaders. For this, he was sentenced by the court-martial of the Moscow Military District on the 15th of February 1952 to 25 years imprisonment. He was held in various prisons in the Soviet Union for over 10 years, during which he was repeatedly interrogated by the Soviet Secret Service about Hitler's death. His statements are still considered among the most important sources about the dictator's demise. After less than half his time, a decree of the Presidium of the Supreme Soviet of September 1955 released Rattenhuber from prison on the 10th of October of the same year. He was handed over to the authorities of East Germany, who allowed him to cross to West Germany in 1956. When Johann Rattenhuber died in Munich on the 1st of July 1957, he was 60 years old. Thanks for watching the World History Channel. Be sure to like and subscribe and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss our next episodes. We thank you, and we'll see you next time on the channel.